Hello everyone, my name is Eric Taran Mullins, and I'm a professional manga comic illustrator who watches anime while he draws. I mean, check it out. I'm drawing. This is what I'm doing. I'm drawing. I'm drawing while showing these videos. I mostly watched dubbed because of this, but I do watch some sub stuff every now and then when I'm not given the option to and it's a show I really want to watch or really want to catch up on. Or if I have magical free time available. Okay, let's talk about My Dress-up Darling and how much we're on the fence about it. Where do I begin with this one? The overall theme of the show is like what you like and you'll gravitate towards others that share the same interests. Pretty noble. The series follows two main protagonists, the first being Wakana Gojo, who is a young high schooler that loves creating old school traditional Hina dolls, which he keeps hidden from his peers. Oh, the complexity of it all. He has that old person trapped within a young person's body vibe, and he lives with his grandfather, who is an expert at creating these dolls. He sees his interest as a secret shame, and I say shame because he really likes making these dolls. He actually carries around a doll head with him that inspires him to work harder on his painting skills. And every now and then he kind of talks to that doll. Like, who does this, right? Like, what? You are absolutely right. You know, I had something very similar happen to me once. Oh, it looks like you're out. Would you like me to top you off? Then in walks protagonist number 2, Marin Kitagawa, a popular, strong, independent, ear-pierced pretty girl classmate of his catching him in the act of talking to his doll in the sewing room at the end of the school day. Why is she there? It turns out that she loves cosplay. This too cool for school gal is a big ol' otaku, and she is in that sewing room to try and make herself a fancy cosplay dress. This meeting spirals them into a friendship where they are codependent on one another. Marin uses Gojo's incredible talents and skills of creating doll clothing and puts them to use towards her cosplay goals, while she gives Gojo self-confidence and support in his abilities as a seamster and makeup artist, and I guess overall person. But this may blossom into more than just friends as the show goes on, perhaps? This is a rom-com after all. All that rom has got to be at least 50%. Surprisingly enough, the show is actually incredibly accurate in the way it depicts its professions. My wife is a professional seamstress, and with my attending more conventions than I can count to promote and sell my manga comic Blithe, the ordeals these two go through are very realistically done. From the way they measure, cut, trim, to the actual experience of being at a con on a hot day with a cosplay that might be suffocating based off the materials. They're just too thick. But they look so pretty. But they're too thick, it's too hot. This kind of realism was a welcome change from so many other shows out there that I do still adore my over-the-top ridiculous cosplays, but it's fun to see something with this realism. Okay, so now you have a general idea of where this series is going. The art style quality is pretty nice. There are a few things that I personally wasn't a fan of, but it was an artistic choice. Like, I love my anime characters having cute and round faces, and I love using rounder edges on things when I make my own art because of this. But in My Dress-up Darling, everything is very pointy and sharp, from most of the liner edges right down to her smile.
Courtney, will you make funny faces to entertain me? No! Never triangle face. I hate triangle face. It scares me.
Jokes aside, it's very well done, just not my cup of tea. Though I definitely don't hate it, and it grew on me as I got past the first couple of episodes. The animation is very fluid, and the characters are always so vibrant looking. As far as rom-com go, this one does actually have a lot of backgrounds in it. It's rare you get those like colored backgrounds with nothing going on, so they put a decent budget into their backgrounds, which is, it's awesome. The English voice acting is pretty good. I had watched the first half dubbed and the second one subbed, and for real, they chose very good dubbers. The voices on both fronts really fit well, and it was cool to see them hire Amanda Lee to voice Marin. I am so curious how that hiring went down. Like, did she contact them, or did they see her awesome English anime dub songs and were like, she has to do it because it fits so well with our brand? Regardless, she did a great job. But for real, what a missed opportunity not to hire her to sing the end theme in English. The soundtrack doesn't really stand out much, but it does fit with whatever is going on. So, I'm not gonna complain about it being intrusive or non-intrusive, it fits perfect. However, the intro and end credit themes? Okay, so the main intro is a cute song. Very upbeat, and the visuals kind of tell a story like, here is a day in the life of these characters. The line, come on Barbie, let's go party, kind of kept popping in my head as that theme song was going on. The real problem the intro faces is actually the end credits, which is not only super catchy and cute, but has a music video starring the actress dressed and looking like Marin. It definitely has some slice of life elements to it, though the series itself is fairly linear and has a specific goal it's trying to achieve. There isn't any fighting or violence in this show, but don't let that fool you. This show hits levels of stress and tension that will definitely put you on the edge of your seat while unable to blink or look away. So many anime rom-com series have trouble with dealing with more explicit adult situations, which can really make a series suffer. Waiting 3 seasons to see a main character finally hold hands with the girl of his dreams or her boy of her dreams is unrealistically frustrating to watch. I'm sure it happens, and perhaps more often in Japan, I have no clue, but I like seeing levels of emotional conflict hit the stratosphere every now and then. And this show definitely delivered. As the show continues, we get introduced to a couple of new characters here and there. I'm going to drop a few biased opinions that may cause you to turn away from the series, or write a heated debate in the comments section. The main characters in this show are supposed to be 15 years old. That's not considered to be too young for the country of Japan. Cultures evolve differently, and only time will tell what works best. The character designs of Gojo and Marin have them looking much older, with Marin giving herself makeup and accessories, and Gojo wearing clothing that naturally makes him seem older. The personality and voices work at giving you the illusion that they in fact could easily be 18 or older in age. This style is in contrast to most Western writing, where we see older people playing younger roles.
How do you do, fellow kids?
So when we get introduced to Inui Sajuna, who is supposed to be 17, but is designed to resemble someone that looks younger than the entire cast, I had started to get worried. A lot of anime do the whole, I can drink because I'm legally 1,000 years old. But ultimately, they went down the same writing path as a show like Toradora and Taiga's situation. She is self-aware of her smaller frame, and in this instance, uses it to make cosplays of younger characters she resembles for fame and fortune. Then we meet her younger sister, Shinju, that probably wouldn't get carded for buying alcohol. This is, of course, part of the joke. This sort of thing could have been really awkward, but somehow the show does a decent job of utilizing the comedy aspect, especially when we find out about the younger sister's style of cosplay that she's into. So many bullets being dodged here, and just barely. It's intense. Again, no spoilers. I'd really try to avoid it like the plague on this channel. I like to keep these reviews light because I'm introducing you to the show and if it's worth watching for you. With only a single season out so far, this series has a nice ending that leaves you happy and wanting more, but will we get it? Second seasons for a lot of shows of this genre suffer from the concept that you are no longer introduced to the main protagonist, and nothing can be completely resolved if they have a season after this planned. So how do we raise any kind of stakes when we know the ending can't push too far and leave room for the real ending? Because 3 seasons is all rom-coms usually get, with a very select few breaking away from this mold. So when we see that rom-com anime is based off a manga and it has tons of volumes, things tend to look rather bleak for the potential of this ending. The issue I have stems from how Japanese shows are produced nowadays. See, they make the show. If it's popular enough, then they give it the green light for a following season. But this means bringing all the parties and its involvement back together, which takes time, then producing the whole thing. If they had started right away, it would be one thing, but by the time the second season comes out, the hype is dead, and people are watching another new show, and they have their new favorite characters. We humans are fickle creatures, And now that I love the characters in this new show the most, the second season to these older characters I care less for, as I haven't seen them for literally the past 2 to 4 years. Season 2 has to be top notch, and as I had mentioned earlier, this is rarely the case for so many shows, so the show gets cancelled after its second season, when we all know that the third season that ends it all would have been crazy hardcore with high and low drama for all of us that are thirsty for emotional conflict. In order to avoid this, it would need to be completely written from start to finish and be guaranteed production in a timely manner. And when money is involved, they don't know for certain the reception a new show is going to get. So it's just not viable to push for 3 seasons up front. But who knows? There are some shows that were released slow and steady and turned out great. I'm looking forward to the release of the second season, and crossing my fingers it's gonna be a resounding success so we can lock in that final third season. Unless this show breaks those boundaries and tries to go for more, but it's such a risk. With exception to all you manga readers out there, with all that awesome time on your hand, maybe you read on the bus, that's amazing. Perhaps you read in between classes, or maybe some of you actually have that unicorn style time where you have like an hour to yourself at night where you can just sit down and read a good book. For the rest of us that have crazy schedules in our lives, this is not an option, so please finish it in 3 seasons, or at least realistically, I just need an ending. I love closure, and I hate getting into shows and loving characters and then them just ending out of nowhere. And that's pretty much it for My Dress-up Darling. It's actually very funny, super cute, and the protagonists are very charming the whole way through. Let me know in the comments section which side of the fence you've chosen to fall on. Do you have a favorite anime rom-com? Be sure to let me know down in the comments section. I'll be sure to highlight a few comments here and read them out at the end of the next video I make. Here are some of the highlighted comments from my last video about the anime Fate series as a whole. You can always check it out by clicking the link above, especially if you are curious about this convoluted series. I really tried to streamline how to watch it while giving a light review. So here's one by I See Dead People. And I See Dead People says, Fate Stay Night is a better starting point as it provides the basic mechanics of the Holy Grail War system at the point of view of an outsider, Shiro, who's the main protagonist to the main 3 mainline series, as opposed to Fate Zero, where everyone was already involved with the ritual. The latter part of the show tends to have some elements referencing Fate, Unlimited Blade Works, and Heaven's Feel, but the adaptation is alright and character designs is actually much closer to the original visual novel. Fate Grand Order, on the other hand, is not set in the far future, as it was actually set at the same year or closer when the original game was released. Then going back to 2004, Fuyuki, where the 5th Holy Grail Wars occurred with a different roster and result, then back to present 2015 to 17. Afterwards, the next race shift goes back further in time. Well, I definitely agree with the original Fate series being a very good starting point. I just personally think that the Fate Zero series had a little more punch to it for newer viewers, especially modern viewers watching newer animes today. The older one kind of feels a little old and outdated, and especially if you're watching it dubbed. Also, thank you so much for correcting me. I mean, when I had watched Fate Zero, I just remember underground base they were in, so because of this, I guess I just figured it was always in the future, but I think that saying the distant far future and it being in 2015 makes my comment ridiculously funny. And down here we have Patrick, who says, it's a hellhole that once you get in, you can't never get out. But it's worth it though. It is one of those shows that when you watch it the second or third time, still have the same energy as if you watched it the first time. I definitely agree with you on that, Patrick. I've almost watched the entire Fate series twice now. I'm a huge fan of a lot of the character designs and just the story and the music, so it is a real fun rewatch. Up here we have KJ that says, I 120% agree with that watch order. I watched it in that order myself, and I have to say it's genuinely the best watch order for the OG series. Also, amazing video, man. Definitely hope to see more from you. Thank you so much, KJ. I plan on making a ton of new videos. And down here we have Sean Mullins, who says, Fate Stay Night was my favorite, and I loved Berserker/Hercules. So crazy. He was so crazy. He was an epic hero. I'd also love it if you liked and subscribed to my channel. I'm just starting off, so if there are suggestions of things that you think might help me out, or maybe there are certain things that you like a little less, please be sure to write it down in the comments section too. My mind is a sponge, and I am ready to learn. Thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome rest of your day.